We're always looking for the next big thing, the one that pushes boundaries and creates this game-breaking mechanic that's going to change the gaming world forever. And that's how a lot of these games get marketed nowadays. But unfortunately, more often than not with these new games releasing, they leave a lot to be desired. With Avowed set unrealistic expectations to Dragon Age the Veilguard being a complete fucking disaster, action RPGs have taken a bit of a negative turn in the public eye recently. We desperately needed a win, and I think this is it. From Dishonored-style takedowns to The Last of Us-style looting to Stalker gunplay and Dying Light world design, this game is the epitome of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mind you, it's not perfect, okay? It's far from it, but here's some of the things that I think make this game worthwhile and the game that we needed here in 2025. What even is this game? The developers of Atomfall, Rebellion, are primarily known for their Sniper Elite series. You know, the one with the exploding heads in slow motion. They tackled creating an engaging RPG that took inspiration and mechanics from what works in other games while also managing to create a uniquely interesting story. The game's description on the website says a survival action game inspired by real-life events, which should ring a bell. Stalker. But it brings more to the table in terms of choices and role-playing elements. There's quite a bit of jank in this game, but for the first time in a long time, the jank actually brings some sort of charm instead of frustration. The AI, no matter what difficulty setting, is all sharing one brain cell. I kill someone in a building, everyone runs and screams, ah, as they probably should. Someone attacks me, as they probably should. But then if I leave the building and come back, they're having tea and crumpets next to the dead body like nothing ever happened. On top of that, NPCs die with their eyes open, so they look funky and creepy as hell. These kinds of things didn't really affect the game in a negative way. They more just had me laughing at the silliness of it. Speaking of difficulty settings, Atomfall brings a high level of customization to the difficulty that truly caters to the player and their preferred playstyle. They give you 3 sliders divided into combat, survival, and exploration. Each one is going to affect different mechanics. As you can probably assume, the combat affects enemy difficulty, survival affects looting, healing and stamina, and exploration affects maps and quest guidance. I'm usually not one to budge on difficulty settings because I like the challenge, but my toddler sense of direction was never gonna cut it on challenging difficulty for exploration, so I put that down to pipsqueak and called it a day. This worked really well. I didn't feel like I was sacrificing any sort of challenge, more like fine-tuning what I wanted out of my gameplay based on my personal preference. Moving on to combat. You have a variety of guns and melee weapons to find and use throughout this experience. Gunplay feels pretty solid, the guns are responsive, the animations are good, the recoil and spray patterns make sense. It's pretty much what you would expect from this developer.
Fire in the hole! Oh, you losing men. Fight hard. Heads up, bombs out.
The melee combat is where it gets a little doo-doo for poo-poo puffs, but I found myself enjoying it more towards the middle and end of the game after I got some upgrades to buff myself. My biggest gripe is that there's no dodge or block. There's only a hit, a stun, or a throw the weapon. So you're whacking away at enemies, but you better make sure that you're anticipating those attacks because you can only do an awkward little uncomfortable jump backwards or step back, or you can bait the attack and step away and then come back in to continue hitting or stun them every now and then. But even then, it's not guaranteed to stop any sudden attacks from some of the enemies that they have. It's missing a quality of life feature. Given the fact that melee became my go-to in this game because of missing resources, aka I didn't have any bullets half the time, a block or a dodge feature would have made a huge difference. Aside from that though, hit registration and animation seemed just fine. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing crazy, but responsive enough to let me rampage through sections of the game. There is stealth. It is optional. It seems to be encouraged actually, but it is optional and it's simple and straightforward. Sneak around, don't be seen, don't be heard, take them out with a satisfying neck crack. Live out your chiropractor fantasy, except this time it ends in death, so maybe don't do that IRL. All of this is tied together with a unique mechanic that is your heart rate. If it's too high, you can become more inaccurate with your weapons and you make more noise, so it's harder to sneak around. It raises and lowers based on how much you're running or hitting or jumping, just like in real life. Cardio, baby. It's basically just a fancy stamina bar. The buffs that I talked about a little bit ago are passive abilities that make the game a bit easier as you unlock them, but nothing stands out to me as like a character build style of thing in this game, just as passive upgrades. To unlock these buffs, you need training syringes or something along, I forget what they're called, but being thorough and exploring through the game's nooks and crannies really pays off because you'll find these upgrade materials or crafting recipes, a lot of items that just help you buff yourself, become a beefier hunk of junk, if you know what I mean. Exploration is a huge part of this game's experience and the one thing that actually makes it stand out. The game encourages discovering and reading through things by giving you a detective-style journal where you have to put together clues in order to find out where to go or what to do next based off of your findings. Whether it's in notes or people you speak to and the things that they say or other various clues found throughout your journey, everything plays a piece in the puzzle. Playing through with the exploration difficulty set to pipsqueak like me gave me extra nudges and objective markers because I can't be bothered to pay attention to things like that, okay? I just can't. But even then, it was still pretty rewarding to find a hidden treasure or a bloody note, etc. that led me to some goodies. I couldn't differentiate between main quests and side quests throughout the game, and that was actually a great part about this adventure. Every encounter had its own interesting tidbit that it brought to the table in a natural and fluid way, so I never felt like I needed to do a specific quest for any reason other than I wanted to or I stumbled upon it. It's not holding a knife to my neck going, get XP or you'll never get through this game. It's just like, experience things. Cool. Get on it. Go do it. Enjoy. I'm like, cool. Yeah, I'll go do that. I'll enjoy. It was good. Crafting is pretty straightforward. Find the recipe, find the materials, craft the item. Looting is satisfying with the little sound effects and whatnot. The biggest dumb though concerning loot is that certain items don't stack in your inventory, like healing items. Healing items also can't be put into a quick slot, so they can only be used from the inventory menu, which doesn't pause the game. I found myself running like the dickens away from the enemy if I had low health to try to panic and put up the inventory and eat my beans on toast and tea or whatever the fuck I had to boost my health and stamina. It was ridiculous. There was no need for that. I was very surprised that they didn't bind a button to healing or allow you to add it to one of your quick slots, but again, it's one of those things that I was able to get past because I was enjoying the game in other ways. Trading is interesting. You have a bartering system where you barter items instead of having outright gold or other currencies, and that was okay. It was interesting and different and a little annoying to deal with at times due to the inventory capacity issues that I mentioned before, but again, something unique, pretty cool. Let's talk about the story.
We drilled a little too deep.
The truth lies hidden.
The mystery is created right away through memory loss and weird occurrences. The only thing that's clear is that nobody trusts anyone and that the locals have a strong disdain of the military faction. The best part about this mystery is not that it keeps you engaged, which it certainly did for me, but that it didn't overstay its welcome. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I hate being blueballed with mystery. Like, yes, create the mystery and then answer the mystery. Tell me what the mystery, what's the answer to don't give me more questions. This game does that very well because the story has great pacing. It's a shorter experience, so maybe it has something to do with that, but I personally did appreciate the storytelling. You can kill everybody is a little bit out of place in this portion of the script, I understand, but I didn't know how to bring it up without sounding like a maniac. The reason I bring it up is I mentioned in a video before, but I stand behind the fact that being a good person, being a kind human, and being a responsible citizen is all for the chumps out here in the real world. In my games, I want to be an absolute menace. I want the developers to put in reactions from NPCs that make me laugh from the outrageous and menacing things that I do in a game. I want to randomly punch somebody in the face. I want to run away from the law. I want to do things that I wouldn't be able to do outside of the game. I guess I could do those things, but I don't think I want to be a criminal. Chaos definitely shines through in this little escape from reality. Mind you, you don't have to be evil. It also allows you to be a hero in the story. You want to be the one person in the post-apocalyptic universe that's actually trustworthy. More power to you, bro. But on that note, the story does keep itself from getting stale and or boring or repetitive with the hero stuff by giving you some moral issues. Giving you choices that whether you choose A or choose B, you're going to be in the morally gray category, where you just kind of have to choose from the lesser evil, or at least what you perceive that to be. Imagine if the game was just all about being good and saving the world. It would be like a fucking children's show. I don't want to be Dora the fucking Explorer telling you how to speak Spanish and swiper away or whatever she does. I want my heartstrings tugged. And some of my choices throughout the game definitely led me to being like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have told so-and-so the one thing that led to what's his nuts doing whatever. It's hard to explain without spoiling the story, but you know what I'm trying to say, because the choices really do matter in this game. The replayability is also there because the game has 6 different endings. Atomfall focuses on bringing mechanics to this game that already work. Yeah, they lack a little bit of polish here and there, but as an overall experience, this game was fun. And at the end of the day, that's what gaming has and always will be for, to have fun. With RPGs specifically, you want to feel immersed and you want to feel like you got something out of the story, and I for sure did with this game. It's a win in my book, but I would love to hear from you guys what you guys think if you've been playing this game, what you guys think if you haven't, down in the comments below. Leave a like for the algorithm gods, since this is a smaller channel, we need all the help we can get, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.